right, who's ready for some matches, huh?
Let's do this. Got place your homie rolling. You off of my condolence. You don't know just how I'm doing. And the silence gold and broke cause they know him for talking fluent.
We're here for a show. We're going to give you a show. Let's start the Schmoedown.
8 questions. They are each worth 1 point.
Jack Bauer, 24.
Following question comes to you from Jeremy Hastings.
Jeremy, each competitor is going to get a spin at the wheel. Movie release dates.
Wow. Schmoedown, as we know, we got a little bit of a WWE flavor to it. It's Eliza Dushku.
2-point steal for
Rising sun.
It's only 2 things you can do about it. That's nothing and deal with it. Damn it.
Y'all ain't ready. Blaze up the whole damn city. Whoa, 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 nah, nah. Get up, I know y'all hear me. Show love when I'm in your city. Whoa, 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 nah, nah. Fire, 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 I'ma burn it down. You say this horse get the
horsemen are here. William Biscotti has cleared the table.
It's going to go down in history as an all-timer.
It's my turn. Your season is done. Your career is done. Whether they friends or they enemies, gonna have to miss me, dog. Y'all ain't ready. Blaze up the whole damn city. Whoa, 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 nah, nah, nah. Get up, I know y'all hear me. Show love when I'm in your city. Whoa, whoa,
Then let's get ready to Schmoedown. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Schmoedown Rundown. Introducing first, KRISTIAN, Janisch, and the host of the Schmoedown Rundown, Gilmore.
What's up, Movie Trivia Schmoedown fans? Welcome to the Schmoedown Rundown, the official after show for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. My name is Brad Gilmore, but you might know me by another name.
Here we go.
You
Here we
might know
go.
me as The Boat. The Boat is in the building. Hashtag best of all time. Hashtag Brad's opinions are true. Hashtag boat life. Hashtag I'm on a boat. And I'm also joined in Los Angeles, California, from the home of Patrick Campbell, is our man, Frank the Tank Jenga Janisch. Frank, how are you? How is Los Angeles, California?
I'm doing good. I came out here just to watch Endgame with a few friends, and
the biggest douche.
I know. But look, I saw it at the ArcLight, the Cinerama Dome out here, and then actually today, as we're recording this, right before we recorded this, I saw it at the Chinese Theater and their IMAX 3D.
Just adding on to this.
Look, sometimes, if you have the capability, if you have the ability to, take advantage of it, because these days, aren't going to happen all the time, so you might as well go for it and have fun. And so that's what I'm doing, even though it's a little bit, I guess, over the top, some might say. That's fine with me, because I'm doing something that I want to do, and it's fun. And I'm out here having a good time with Patrick and Alex and a bunch of other people. So it's to see Endgame. I saw it 2 days in a row. I know you haven't seen it yet.
No spoilers. Oh, my God.
No spoilers. But let me tell you.
It's good?
It's good.
Okay, just
it's
tell
good.
me this, and fans, I promise you this is no spoiler, because I haven't seen the movie.
Right.
I don't go see the movie until Tuesday. All the times are sold out. I was the idiot who waited to the last second. In the pantheon of Marvel films, there's been 22 now? Is this the 22nd?
This is the 22nd. This is the 22nd. Yeah.
It's 22nd or 23rd, one of the two. But I think it's the 22nd. Out of the 22 Marvel films, is it in your top 3?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Top 2?
I think, yeah.
Top 2 and it's not 2?
I don't know if it's my number 1. I don't know.
But it might be in your top 2 for sure. Almost. At least right now, it's in your top 2.
Definitely top 3. I would like to think it's 1 or 2. But it's kind of too early for me to really make that determination. But, man, it's...
This is the truth.
Let me tell you. I'm
excited, man. I'm excited. Now, did you find any issues with the 3-hour runtime? Was it too much?
No. Actually, the first time I saw it, I actually got a huge thing of Coke And I was like, I'm going for it. I don't care. And I'll hold it. But I didn't even have to go to the bathroom until probably like the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie when that was fine. So that's kind of like I felt like a normal movie going experience in that way. So I had no problems. And it didn't even feel like 3 hours to me because I was enjoying it. Yes. And like, there's not a lot of places where you can like get up and kind of, do whatever, or go to the bathroom, or what have you.
Or anything.
So yeah, because it's just going.
How about we do this? Let's do something special. Not today, but I don't know if we can release it on this feed or if we have to do it separately, but I feel like we should do a Rundown Boys, hashtag Rundown Boys with a Z, spoiler review of Endgame. I feel like we should do this. Are you down?
We could do it off our Facebook page. We can just live stream it that way, or Instagram Live it.
Yeah, and we can do one of those. We can find a podcast feed to drop
Very
it
simple.
somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll drop it somewhere. All right, we're going to do that. If y'all want to see that, let's just make sure people want to actually hear us talk about it, because all they want to really hear is Schmoedown stuff. So if you want to hear Brad Gilmore, the Boat, and Frank the Tank Jenga Janisch do a spoiler review of Avengers Endgame, at least sometime next week, in the comments. Let's see those boat emojis, brother. Let's see them. Let's see the boat emojis if you want to see that spoiler review. But let's get to the week that was here in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. A lot of incredible stuff going down. Let's start with some news, some bits of news. Obviously, May the 18th, it's going down. H-Town, Texas, the Booker T World Gym Arena, my home court. It's going down. Founding Fathers versus Double Toasted. Also, the main event, Andrew Guy versus Ben Bateman. There's a lot on the line there. Obviously, Ben Bateman's entire single season is on the line, and you don't want to miss it. And who knows? Is Ben Bateman the favorite? Absolutely. But who knows what's going to happen? Because my guy, Andrew Guy, has done so many...
Lady Guy.
Don't call him Lady Guy. He has done so many impressive things in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, including memorable moments and beating two of the currently 3 5 horsemen.
Right.
There's 3 of them, right? Yeah, there's 3
champions. Yeah, champions. He's beaten the Hall of Famers.
He's beaten 2 of the Mount Rushmore.
Right,
for sure. So you don't know what can happen, and he knows Ben Bateman's strengths and weaknesses. He knows his strategies. You know what I mean? He knows how he studies. This used to be his best friend.
Sure.
So you don't know what's going to happen with Drew Guy. What was it? Cerulean? Was that the answer? That everyone was like, holy hell.
Cerulean mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Devil Wears Prada question.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
You don't know what's going to happen with
him. I mean, how many times can he do that, really? But
he did it
we'll
twice.
See, I guess.
He did it twice. If it was one
time... He had a pretty good match, yeah.
If it's one time, it's a fluke. What was the award that he won last year? Moment of the year?
Entrance of the year. Entrance of the year. Yeah. Where he just walked through a curtain. Yeah.
No, Frank, once again, it's about moment.
I know. Believe me, I've heard. It's not just about walking through a curtain. I get it. I got it. Go on.
We all know that, people like Bibbs and Miss Movies and Rachel Cushing all have great creative, and the Shire Wolves collectively all have great creative entrances. It's about making a moment. It's about making a moment sometimes.
Sure.
An elaborate entrance.
I think the best moment went to the 5 Horsemen reveal. That's the best moment.
That was the best moment, but best entrance was definitely Andrew Guy. Yeah. So anyway, we know that's going down in H-Town, Texas. Also, some news from Collider Live. Every now and then, something bleeds over from Collider Live and the Schmoedown. They kind of cross paths. And one of the things that was said this week was, there's somewhat of a confrontation between Christian Harloff and Roxy Stryer. Of course, Christian Harloff still the chairman of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown League. Roxy Stryer, the slap heard around the world, which I know a lot of people on this message board felt very strongly about in the comment section below.
You said message board like this is like 1995. That's funny.
Yeah, I know. And I was like 3.
Yeah.
Message board below, the comment section. A lot of people weren't too fond of that moment. Some people were, some people weren't, I should say. But,
yeah, very interesting the way people responded to that, but okay.
Okay, can I just say something? And I get it. We all watch the show for different reasons. But you would not be as invested in the movie trivia Schmoedown if there weren't the character development scenes and the storylines and the teams and the promos. You wouldn't.
Well,
be
I don't
invested in the
know. I'm
characters.
here for the trivia, so I'm just here for the trivia. That's fine. That's fine.
I just want to see the right answers or the wrong answers. That's all I care about.
Right. And correct spelling. Correct spelling. Better be correct.
Oh, the spelling better be. They asked that question and
He didn't say it right. You got to say all the vowels in that name. You better say it.
Mask, not the mask. You don't ever keep up with the rules.
I know.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
we have a term for those folks in wrestling. It's called a mark. Don't be a mark, brother. Sorry, I'm a little too harsh. I shouldn't be so harsh on the.
Yeah, I know. It's all good fun. But
Yeah.
you know, I did put up a poll on the Rundown account about how they felt about the ruling. You want to talk about Christian's ruling?
Let's hear about it. So, what was the ruling first off?
Right. So Christian announced it on Collider Live that Roxy would be banned from the Riley Snyder match that's upcoming, and the other part of that stipulation or punishment is that if Riley were to beat Snyder, that means that Roxy would then be also banned from the Odd Couple Shirewolves title match as well. So I put the question out there to the Schmoedown fans. Was this
is what we call them.
Schmoevillians? Was this a fair ruling or a slap, no pun intended, on the wrist? And I have the results here. We have over 700 votes, which is a decent amount of votes. 57% said fair ruling. 43% said slap on the wrist.
Where do you
That's
sit
still
on it? Where do you sit on it? Is it fair? Or is it just hey?
So someone mentioned, I forget their.
For comparison's sake, what was Andrew Guy's suspension after the first tackle?
I think it was suspended for like 3 months or something like that. It was 3 months of the regular season or something like that. I
3 to
believe.
6, right? 3 to
something
6.
like I was 6. Yeah, something. Yeah, it was long.
And what was his punishment for the second incident?
Ben he did not want Andrew Guy to be punished, but I think Harloff. You know what? I can't really fully remember off the top of my head, but this is how we got into the whole Ben Andrew Guy kind of a trilogy of matches that's happening because Ben wanted to take him out, but nonetheless, Andrew Guy still was punished for
He was sanctioned
a little bit.
He was sanctioned. But I feel like the first suspension was heavy-handed. The second one a little more light because Andrew Guy was still around.
The thing is though, these also happened at the very end of the year. None of this happened mid-season on Andrew Guy's part, which is,
right.
I guess, in a devious way, kind of smart. If you're going to inflict damage, do it at the end of the season when there's not much going on afterwards.
Right. It does make sense. But at the same time, I feel like those suspensions were more heavy-handed, and I know we're going to get killed in the comments for not remembering the exact lengths of time they were suspended, but you are the statistician. But you're not home, and you cannot look at your records. So that's the reason why. But my point of saying is Roxy suspended for a match, maybe 2.
See, someone also brought up in the comments that it doesn't really make sense, like how Riley's also a deciding factor for a match that he's not even a part of or has any kind of
connection,
a dog in the fight. You know, like it's all up to Riley if Roxy's suspended for another match, the team title match. It doesn't. I don't know. That's the way Harloff ruled it, and that's why I put out the poll. Is that a fair or slap on the wrist? And frankly, I know it's 57 to 43 in favor of a fair ruling, but that's somewhat of a close margin if you ask me.
Do you ever think in your head when you say frankly, oh, that's my name? Or to be frank?
I used to. Yeah, and then I was just like, no.
I think it's kind of funny. It's to be frank. It's well, you are frank.
It's true. I should start a podcast called To Be Frank.
It's a great idea.
I should do.
It's a great name.
should.
It's a great name. You should
or quite frankly with Frank.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
could be.
to have the Frank Janisch show, a.k.a. To Be Frank, hosted by Frank Janisch.
It's true. Yeah, I could do it.
Frankly,
I'm going to do it. Yeah,
it might be good. Okay, so I thought it was a little heavy-handed. I mean, the first suspensions for Andrew Guy were this one, a little slap on the wrist, but she's not an active player. She's just a manager, so you think you have to take that into consideration. And it's all in good fun. It's to put a little bit of extra sizzle on the steak for that next match to see if she's going to be able to advance to the team match. I understand there are stakes at play.
the one other part of this punishment or suspension is that the main part of it takes place in a singles league match when the incident took place during team festivities, and therefore not penalized in the team division where that's where the slap took place in a team sanctioned event. You would think that if it happened in the team division, you should be punished with inside the team division, because you, as a manager, I think you have a little bit more. There's a little bit more going on for a team match, so there's a little more stakes in terms of managing two people as opposed to one. And while Snyder is the only one affected by this, and Draco should also be affected as well. He gets away potentially without having any kind of managerial impact on him, even though they were all kind of part of that one big event in Chicago. So I would think, while it's possible that he could be felt, the team could be felt in the team title match, it's not guaranteed, which is kind of funny, but I guess it gives some more stakes to the Riley-Snyder match. It gives you a little more incentive to root for Riley if you weren't already, which is kind of weird, because I know I was, and
right,
it's gonna be fun either way. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see how it goes down. I mean, I know that she wasn't sanctioned in teams per se, but
yeah,
she's a manager that floats between both teams and singles.
It's true, yeah.
It seems that way, at least now, that she's kind of taken over the singles managerial roles for both of her competitors, and Draco and Snyder. So we'll see how it all plays out. But she is suspended at least for one match. We know this. And to me, it's kind of like, Roger Goodell, right? Sometimes he suspends you for 6 games. Sometimes it's 3.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the whole season. But you are being punished for your actions, and that's the thing that we should focus on. She is getting a punishment. All right, let's move on. The other thing that was on Collider Live that I saw that I wanted to bring up was the Collider Collision is no longer the Collider Collision. It is the Schmoedown Collision. And Christian was floating the concept of streaming the event live this year, I guess in Schmoedown Throwdown style, and there'd be 4 matches instead of 5. I thought that was a little interesting tidbit. Would you like to see the Collision live, or would you like to see the big events live all in general? There's also the Schmoedown Spectacular. Obviously, the free-for-all was live this year in front of a crowd and streaming around the world. So what do you think about Schmoedown Collision being live and only 4 matches?
I like the idea. I like that route. I like the big events to be live streamed. I would love it even more for every single match to be live streamed. I know we're maybe not quite there yet, but at least for the big events, I think it's a great idea, because it just gives you that more of the pay-per-view feel. The more it makes it a feel much more bigger than just any other match you get. We already get that when it's Spectacular or Free-for-All or Collision. We already feel that. But when you inject the fact that we're live, I mean, just look at kind of the energy that was at the Schmoedown Throwdown with those 2 matches. I mean, it was incredible. Even being in the studio, just knowing it was being live streamed brings a different kind of energy to everyone, and not just to the competitors, but obviously the viewers as well. They're seeing it as everyone else is seeing it in the studio, and no one's left behind unless you choose not to participate in the live stream. And I think it's great for fan interaction with other fans in real time, because there are these spoiler bans that we have in place, because we have fans of the Schmoedown all over the world, and the Facebook group page mainly tries to keep everything spoiler free for like 24 hours after a match drops, so everyone has a chance to catch up. If you have the live streams, you don't really have to worry about that anymore, because you can talk about it as you're watching it, and maybe it helps you get that out of your system and not potentially go to the page and accidentally spoil somebody. So there's many factors, but the energy is the main one. And in any way, and at any time we can inject more energy into the Schmoedown matches, I think is a good move. And so if Collision's going to be live streamed, I'm 110% behind it.
All right, well, we'll see if that actually goes through. I would like to see if we can make that happen. I would love to be there for the Collision this year. That would be a lot of fun. So, Frank, one more thing that I want to talk about is I'm just going to tease it, but I had the privilege of working with Christian Harloff, the great Brian Ward, and Brutalia Belts, which is a belt-making, championship-making manufacturing company here in Houston, Texas. And we worked on these Schmoedown championships, which were revealed on TriviaSD.com. You already know what they look like. But, Frank, I got to see them in person.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, these things are gorgeous. That's all I'm going to say. But we're going to have something special on the show at a later date once those championships really make their formal debut in the league. But they are beautiful, man. They are beautiful. But let's talk about something else that's beautiful.
Those pictures are great.
Let's talk about something else that's beautiful. Two great matches this week. First, we should talk about the Founding Fathers. Tell the folks, Frank Janisch, about the Founding Fathers match. Who'd they go against, and how did it turn out?
They went up against the Wildberries. Did you hear about this? The Wildberries.
I heard about it.
Yeah.
This is why I was unsure about this match, because we know the Wildberries, of course. Elliot Dewberry, Josh McCouga. And we've seen, at least on Collider Live again, we've seen little references to the Mild Man.
Yeah.
But never thought we would see the Mild Berries. They had a whole different attitude, a different way of presenting themselves, a different way of speaking, much more subdued. Maybe they thought that not bringing just debauchery and chaos would help.
Drinking wine.
They were drinking wine. They thought perhaps curbing some of that enthusiasm that they had prior in their matches prior would perhaps give them a better result. And that's what we're going to talk about. How did you think, first of all, Founding Fathers were the obvious favorite, and
Right.
I think overwhelming favorite. And I think that we all kind of knew how this match was going to go, but what did you think going into it? Did you enjoy the Mild Berries?
Yeah, I enjoyed the Wildberries. I liked their pregame interviews. I like the shtick, because I think, as any true Wildberry fan would know, this wasn't going to last long. Like, how could it? Come on, And in the Wild, this is a ruse. It's a tactic. It's them having fun with, especially Josh having fun with the mild man moniker, kind of throwing it back, which is a lot of fun. I'm glad Dewberry hopped on that train, because they really dove into it head first.
Of the Mild
Yeah.
Man. I got to say, I am a fan.
It's just.
It reminds me a lot. It reminds me a lot of Booker T, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Back in the day, there was a tournament called the King of the Ring tournament, and whoever won would be donned the King of the Ring for that year. It's a multi-match tournament, and traditionally there would be a little throne set up, and the king, whoever won, would go over, and they'd be given a crown and a robe and a scepter and sit on a throne. And most of the time, it was just for that evening, maybe the next night on Raw. And that would be the end of their little king reign with the garb on, but they would still be called the King of the Ring, right? Well, Booker took it a step further, and he became King Booker. Changed his name, changed his entrance, had the crown and the pinky would always be raised. He had different music.
Oh, wow.
He didn't say, "Can you dig it, sucker?" He would talk in a British accent and say, "I'm the most noble
That's
and
great.
royal king of all," right?
How's his accent? Is it good?
It's...
That's enough. That's all I need.
Here's the thing. It's great for the character. I wouldn't say
Okay,
it's a spot-on accent, but I don't think it
It's
was
for the
supposed
character.
to be. But
Gotcha,
it was great
okay.
for the character, because he's like,
That's awesome.
I am King
I'll have to look it up.
Booker!
I think I did hear it once upon a time, but yeah, that sounds great.
The funny thing about it is, so he'd try to be this royal, majestic figure, and then if somebody pissed him off or he got crossed, he'd snap right back into Booker T. "Can you dig it, sucker?" He'd be
That's
going
awesome.
like he's gonna put those Fifth Ward beads on you.
It reminds me of like Fred Armisen when he played the Queen on SNL, and like he'd be all very proper in front of people, and then as soon as everybody left the room, he'd go back into like that really like Cockney accent. It's funny.
It's essentially what it was, and so that kind of reminds me of the Mild Man. Is he's the Mild Man? I am a nice, just gentleman of gentlemen, drinking wine, and then Berries. He gets all into it. So
Right.
The result of this match though was what we predicted. I believe final score was like 22-17. I think.
You got it. It was a pretty good match, even though it ended in a TKO.
It was competitive. I mean, the Mild Berries, not the best first round, if I remember correctly.
No, McCouga got 5, Dewberry got 3, which is kind of interesting because Dewberry in my estimation, I kind of view him as the stronger player. I guess maybe not stronger, but more consistent player than Makuga. Makuga is up and down. We know this. He's been a 500 player in the singles league since he's, for the vast majority of his career. So for him to pull out 5 points and Dewberry to only bring up 3, that 4-point deficit to the Founding Fathers could have been smaller had Dewberry really been on his game. But maybe it was the Wildberry thing kind of getting to him and not letting him reach his full potential. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be amped, brother. He's got to be like Rob Gronkowski out there on the field. He's got to just feel it. He's got to feel it in order to be able to tap into some of his movie trivia knowledge. So that went down the first round. Give me the breakdown for the second round. What were the categories? How did it turn out?
So the Founding Fathers, they had that 12-8 lead. They deferred to Wildberries, and I think it was right after the first round, though. That's when the Wildberries showed up, right?
It was, I think, more toward the third.
Or the third round. Third round. You're right. I'm just excited to get to that point. It's a great moment.
I know.
But they get Spinner's choice, and they opt to go with comedy, and they end up going 5 for 6 for 9 points. So a pretty good round for them. And that put some pressure a little bit on the Founding Fathers. They end up getting Tim Burton. They do go with 6 for 6. They went to multiple choice 2 times, and they came up with 8 points of their own. But they did get that 2-point steal off the Wildberries' second question. I'm sorry, the Wildberries' second question. So that gave them a 9-10 round score, second round score. So they were up 22-17.
Wow. So 22-17 is what the final result ended up being, correct?
Right, because after we want to get into the transformation. It's great because they've had enough, and it turns into a party up there, man. They let loose, and they reveal their true selves, and then I think, what was it, round 3. Right, question 1 goes to Josh Makuga, and it's in scores and soundtracks, and he goes with John Williams, James Horner, or I think he said Alan Silvestri maybe, and those are the only 3 I know, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Wasn't correct. Turns out the answer was James Horner, one of the names he was, cycling through, but didn't say it, so he goes all ballistic, and now because he's in full Wildberry mode, this is something that came out of left field. I don't know if anyone saw this coming. He chucks the belt off the table onto the ground, and I was like, whoa.
Too much.
Huge. That's a big no-no. Not even Andrew Guy has defiled the belts. He just wants the belts, I think. So he has yet to disrespect the belts, and he did it to Dan Murrell, his singles division title belt, and chucks it on the ground. Not only that, but then he flosses with it between his legs. So,
yes,
disgusting. But also pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Very funny, and we need to talk about that.
But I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted, Brad.
You should be disgusted. Before we get into the aftermath of that, then there's a couple cutscenes we got to talk about. Let's talk about what this win means for the Founding Fathers. I kind of viewed this as the plot line for The Longest Yard initially, where Paul Wrecking Crew says all you need is a tune-up game, and he has to put together his ragtag group of felons in order to let the guards just run shop on them to get their confidence up. Do you think that this was a confidence builder for the Founding Fathers going into their match against Double Toasted in Houston?
Confidence builder? I don't know if it was a confidence builder, but I think it was a confidence reassurance. I think it's a reassurance more than a builder.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Because they know they're good. Roca knows he's playing with a Hall of Famer. Dan Murrell knows what he's got in John Roca, someone who's going to go to bat for him and their team every single time, and he's going to give it his all. And that's a great combination they have, especially when you're talking about a 2-time and a 3-time singles division champ and a former team champ in Roca. So there's a lot of hardware that's been won between just those two guys. So I think there's more. They just need more reaffirming, not necessarily confidence building, because I think they just need to reaffirm, and especially when they head into Houston. they always talk about not getting ahead of themselves because they're looking towards corruption. At least Roca is. Dan Murrell seems a little more who's right in front of me. Roca is like that, but also is like, I know also the ultimate prize. That's what helps fuel him. So it's an interesting duo and their mindsets in that team.
Absolutely, and I think that this Double Toasted match, people are looking past Double Toasted. I think that that's probably a very bad idea, and I think that this was a confidence builder. I see what you're saying from reassurance, but I think this is a confidence builder. You're going to go out there, you're going to go in front of a bunch of people in Houston, Texas. You're going to be in a different way, and Double Toasted, they know where they're at. They know they're in H-Town. They're not unfamiliar with the territory, so I think that this was a statement victory. It was a TKO. It's a statement victory. Gets the confidence levels up. I'm feeling good.
Wildberries are no slouches. So.
No, they're not. And I think that a lot of times we look at them as the bushwhackers of the movie Trivia Schmoedown, but I think that they're a lot better than people give them credit for. I didn't think that the result was in doubt, but I thought that they put up a good fight, and had they had a better first round and third round, it would have been a different game.
I'm actually really surprised.
Correctly, they would have won.
Right. Oh, of course. But I'm just actually surprised they didn't get anything in the third round. And because
it was
like I said, they're not slouches
of the Wildberries.
And
should have kicked it into high gear.
You don't want to you don't want to catch the Wildberries on a good day. Because your day will be ruined, and you don't want to lose to those guys. I mean, they'll just run all over you. So.
Right. Well, let's talk before we get more to Josh McCouga, because there's a lot of news with Josh McCouga. Let's talk about what we saw before this match. Grace Hancock was talking to our man, Zip Man, Eric Zipper, who, by the way, was on the call for the MCU exhibition match that went down.
Yeah.
Sean Gerber, Jay Washington, Mike Kalinowski, Kevin Smets, Rachel Cushing. Is that all of them?
Right.
Did I name them all?
Yeah.
Rachel,
right?
Mike, Jay, Sean, and Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Went down between the five of them. A phenomenal contest. And I will say,
you really should check it out. Yeah.
Might be surprising to people. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I was pleasantly surprised by the result. But Eric Zip was on there talking to Grace Hancock, kind of having like a little interesting conversation, and then we saw Corruption make their entrance. Why don't you tell us what happened, Frank?
So, this was... we didn't get to the suspension for McCouga.
Yeah, no, we're going to get there. We're going to get there because there's
you want to...
and with Sam, so I want to get there
Gotcha.
But yeah, let's go talk about...
so Grace and Eric Zipper. Zipper walks in, and it was like this swerve of... Because people thought that Zipper was going to be Stacy's new partner. And
I believe you actually floated that hypothesis on this show.
I shut it down. I shut it down. I said,
was it mine?
yeah, I was like, this makes no sense to me. But people immediately thought that Eric Zipper was going to be Stacy's partner after he went heel after their World's Finest lost, and he split with Winston. And then you saw him at the free-for-all eating his cake. And so people thought Eric Zipper was going to flip over to Corruption, which I didn't think made much sense because he's very pissed off at Mike Kalinowski. But then in this scene, though, Eric Zipper apparently had some sort of conversation with Grace previously saying that, Grace was going to bring him into Corruption and that he would take over Corruption and kick Mike out. But I guess Grace and Corruption was just having fun at Eric Zipper's expense, because then in walks Mike Kalinowski doing the zippity doodah theme, which I thought was brilliant. It was
very good.
Hilarious. And Eric Zipper was duped, and then it ends with Grace on the phone with Stacy's new partner, who is not Eric Zipper.
We found out that it's not Eric Zipper. Still no real hints or clues as to who that person is, but we're going to find out, I'm assuming, very soon, because the teams division is stacking up, my brother. And I think that whoever Stacy has, it's got to be a heavy hitter if they're going to compete in this league. But now we can go to Josh McCouga. We can talk about the Wild Man suspension. He ran into Emma Fife, who, of course, is the commissioner for the team league and the Inter-Geekdom division. What exactly happened?
So, Emma comes into that post-match interview and says, look, what you did to the belt, Sam's very particular about belts and, all that stuff. And so Emma suspends Josh, much to the behest of McCouga and Dewberry trying to sweet talk her and sweet talk Sam. It was pretty funny. But she said, look, I got to suspend you for 2 months. And so
Another
suspended for 2 months.
Heavy-handed suspension, I think.
Right. And it wasn't even
Comparatively
a
to slapping
physical.
somebody.
Right. See, he got suspended for. I mean, look, disrespecting the belt is a huge thing.
It's
But
a championship, actually.
Right. Well, right. So, I don't know, 2 months, and then. But Roxy only gets a match, potentially, too. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but
Hey,
then again,
that's the way it
Roxy
goes.
not an active competitor. He is an active competitor.
True.
I don't know if we have different rules for them because, a coach can get a tech,
That's fair. Yeah.
right? A coach can get a tech in a basketball game, but he can't get a shooting foul.
Well, he could be. Well, that's true. Yeah.
He can't get a shooting foul. He can be ejected,
Yeah.
but he can't get a shooting foul. So I think
Suspended.
there's
Yeah.
certain things that he can't get
True,
she can't
true.
get that the other players can. So I understand that. But then we see this bleed on over into the singles match, or not the singles match, but for the you like that, didn't you? It's very
Yeah, the
fish-
boat stuff going
like
on.
the boat.
Yeah.
Bleed on
You,
over.
the audio listeners can't see us waving our hand
Oh,
across
yeah.
the screen.
So that's
yeah.
why y'all gotta look on the
Yeah.
show. Now it actually looks pretty cool. I can't stop doing it. Okay, Josh McCouga then runs into Sam Levine. And before we break this down, I do want to make one quick note. By the production of the promos this year has reached another level. I think the quality, the video quality, the way that they're edited. I love kind of when there's like three people talking, how the camera kind of circles around them, almost like in the presidential debates from 2016, where there was a
Right,
one
yeah.
guy stalking kind of
Oh
the
my
other one.
gosh.
That was kind of the camera angle. We'll call that the Trump Jaws effect. Just kind of going around the
Oh,
group
great,
like
yeah.
that. Or maybe we won't call it that. I'm sorry, but I do like the quality of the promos. That's all I'm trying to say. The audio sounds.
You talking about the cutscenes or the promos, or both?
I mean, both. But I
Yeah.
mean more so. I guess I'm referring to the cutscenes.
Okay,
We call them
yeah.
promos in wrestling. Everything's a promo, but I really do appreciate the work that's gone into those because that's one thing, man. Quality. That's what the Schmoedown puts out, and I think that they get better every single year of the production of it. If you look at something from the beginning of last season to the beginning of this season, it's a different show. It really is a different show. And it's so funny how you just every now and then you just think of something else. Oh, I could shoot it this way. I could shoot it that way. And I don't know if that's Cobster, Cody, Thad, RB3.
That's going to be a lot of Cameron, and I think RB3 does shoot some stuff, but a lot of it's Cameron that I know. He shoots a lot of those
So
things.
shout out to Cameron, man. I mean,
yeah.
because shout out to the cameraman. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Look at that!
Wow.
Shout out to Cameron, man, because he's
Wow.
been killing it. So let's talk about
Oh my
what
gosh.
actually happened. Josh Kruger comes and sits down, talking to Sam, who's the singles commissioner, about his suspension. Thought it was a bit unfair. And what was Sam's proposition to the Wild Man?
So he says, look, I want you to play Paul Oyama.
Who you're a big fan of?
Right. Cool. So if Makuga beats Paul Oyama, then he's not suspended anymore. That's it. Done. Poof. But if he loses to Paul Oyama, Sam Levine's tacking on another additional month to Josh McCouga's suspension for a total of 3 months. So, yeah, that's not and really Josh McCouga has he's got to thank Emma Fyfe for that one because Sam got an earful from Emma about he needs to do more from Thursday's match, right? That end cutscene. Emma comes over and is like, you're not doing a whole lot these days. What are you doing? You ordering lunch? Great, cool, but no, we need you to be more present. And so this is Sam getting more involved, and Josh McCouga just happens to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and now he's getting the end of that. So
an extra month, though. I mean, damn.
He said in a month. Yeah, so it'll be a 3-month
know.
suspension
A 3
for
month
defiling the
suspension
belt.
for grinding on the belt.
Hey, maybe that's why we're getting new belts.
I think it's
A
probably
lot of things have happened to that belt. I mean,
Yeah.
even Merle talked about getting it sanitized and all that. So
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably a good, smart reason there. But so that was what happened. I don't know if it's fair. Weigh in the comments. Is that a fair suspension for Josh Makuga. And if he loses an extra month, that's just terrible. It's terrible.
It's interesting, though, that you can play your way out of a suspension. Even though you're suspended, you got to play to get out of a suspension. But, I mean, it's in the singles, not teams, so, okay. I don't know.
Whatever works. Let's talk about, though, the second match that we saw. We saw the Evil Geniuses finally reunite. First time we saw them since the, first round of the Anarchy tournament, going up against Team Superhero News, which hasn't had the greatest of showings in this venture as a team.
Right, they're 1-1, yeah.
A 500 team. So I guess that's not too bad. I mean, William the Beast Bibiani's got to go up for the championship here very soon, and he's about a 500, average player in singles.
I think he's 2 games over 500 now. But yeah, he was for a long time hovering around. Yeah.
A flip of the coin. So doesn't mean that you don't have the potential to go further in the league. But I still thought that Evil Geniuses, the way that they were playing last year, we know that Lon Harris might have the yips at times. But not this time. He and JTE, we could talk about it, but they got the win is my point. And JTE, man, he brought it again. We've seen JTE back now in the free-for-all. We saw him up against, I'm calling him Big Brother John, although he might be the little brother, I've been told. I'm not sure which one is true, but in my head, he's Big Brother John. We saw him go up against...
Well, you want to call him... I think people just want to call him Lil John, which is fun.
Oh, that's fun, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Big Brother John. He went up against JT. JT, of course, successful in defeating Big Brother John Harris. So where did you see this match going? I thought Evil Geniuses, again, heavy favorites, in my opinion, had this in the bag.
Well, JT had a pretty decent showing against Jonathan Harris to reform Evil Geniuses. JTE's never been a blow you out of the water kind of player. He's always done enough. He's been one of those scrappy players. He's been one of those guys that grinds it out, and he's another 500.
The greatest team of all time.
Sure, but I mean, he's also been away from the game for a long time, and just because you have a decent comeback game, I mean, even though he played really well at free for all, can't take that away from him because he likes the bright lights. And a Superhero News match is not really one of those bright light types of matches. So sometimes you don't you treat it less than right. So it was interesting to see how JT would respond in that kind of environment.
It's like a locally televised Rockets game against the Memphis Grizzlies or something.
Whatever.
James Harden's not gonna
it's on. Okay, cool.
James Harden's not gonna play his heart out. He might drop 40 that night instead of his usual 60. But I understand what your point is. Sometimes you want to come to play when there's a bigger challenge in your mind or brighter lights ahead of you. But I still thought that they needed to come out here and win again. They needed to have a statement victory in some sort of fashion, because if they didn't come out here and win, then it's like, oh, okay, well, we didn't really miss much from the Evil Geniuses. But the fact that they came out here and they delivered and they played, they won, I think they're on the right track.
Yeah, and I think with JTE, he got 6 points. Lon had 5, so the yips are relatively accurate in that sense, because I view Lon as a 7-point player in that first round, or he's had a couple perfect first rounds. So I think his 5 below JTE's 6, not a great sign, but also not a huge sign of concern as well, because once you get into that second round, that's where they do a lot of damage as well.
You having a poker game over there or something? I hear poker chips.
We're dealing chips as we speak. Yeah, we have a
poker game.
backroom poker tournament going on. So
is there really a poker game or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic.
What are the blinds up to now? 5,100. Oh, they just started 5,100 blinds.
5,100 blinds. Okay.
Yeah.
If you got pocket aces, just go all in. That's what I always say.
Might as well.
What's the worst that could happen? Anyway, so we saw the match. You said that he kind of had a bit of a yippee in round number 1. How did it work out for Evil Geniuses and Superhero News in round 2? Superhero News, I think they actually spun second. They got Modern Day Classics. Then they ended up landing on 80s. Sabina not even born in the 1980s, not
right.
which, the 90s are awesome, so I understand. But talk about the Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, the Evil Geniuses, they end up with directors. Oh, but real quick, I kind of wanted to mention Sabina Graves' first round. She had 6 points. So she had a really good showing there. And I was wondering how it would transfer into the second round. We'll get to that, but Evil Geniuses, they kind of pick up where they left off. They go 6 for 6 for a total of 10 points. It's a very nice round in directors. They used multiple choice a couple times, and they kind of fell back into their old ways when they had that first match. So that was really, really nice to see from both of them.
Absolutely. So going back to it, though, when Superhero News got 1980s movies, you saw there was a dismay in the face of both of them. Like I said, one of them not born even in the...
I was like they wanted to spin again.
Yeah,
You're like,
and I think even Sean Gerber was like, well, stuck with this one.
yeah.
Whatever. But I still think they made the right move spinning away from modern classics if they were uncomfortable with it, because I still feel like it's an uncomfortable category for a lot of players, because it's like, what the hell
broad,
is the modern classics? It's a little broad. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure, Anyway, so I think that it was probably a safe bet if you're a little uneasy about it. 1980s, I feel like, should be a category that a lot of movie fans are good at, because maybe all the greatest movies ever came out in the 1980s, at least in my opinion. My favorite movies, by a large majority, came out in the 1980s.
There's a lot in there, yeah.
I mean, you talk about the Indiana Jones movie, you talk about Back to the Future. There was a Star Wars movie in there as well. So it's a good decade. Indiana Jones, did I already say that? I think I did.
Yeah.
It's a good decade. So, anyway, John Hughes, I can go on. I thought that they should have done a little bit better in it, but they still did what?
They ended up getting, 2 points. They used multiple choice on their first 5 questions. They ended up getting knocked out here. So it was a quick match. 23-11 was the final. You look at Evil Geniuses. They answered 19 of 25, 76% correct.
Good showing.
That's a really good sign for their first team match back. And, you can say what you want about the quality of the opponent they faced that day, but in the end, it's really how did you answer your own questions? How did you respond with steal opportunities? And, they went 2 for 3. So, for 2 points. So they were in there getting those steals, which contributed to getting them the knockout. So that you always need that. So they played really well. 11 points in that first round from both of them combined is a good sign. You always want to be in the double-digit range no matter what coming out of that first round if you want to be a contending team. That's what I've always said. And they showed that, that they're on the road back to potentially a title shot. And we'll see what happens here with Odd Couple and Shire Wolves, because that could help determine what kind of path Evil Geniuses might have to go on to go after the belt as well.
Yeah, we will see, but we also know that Superhero News will not be continuing at all. If you saw their post-match interview with Jen Sturger, they are officially disbanded in the most amicable breakup in movie
right.
Schmoedown history.
It was so weird.
We have the same strengths. We have the same weaknesses. We really like each other, but we're really not that good as a team. You want to break up? Let's break up. Okay, we're going to break up. I mean, that was kind of how it happened. And hey, man, shout out to Sean Gerber, shout out to Sabine. I mean, I think that maybe in singles they could be more of something. We'll have to see. I don't know if teams is really the right way for Sabina at all, because I don't think that she's had the greatest showings in teams. And I remember in the Energy
right, because she was
Ethan Irwin.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. She was teamed up with Ethan Irwin. I don't know. She's gonna have to really find someone that kind of complements her strengths. I would still like to see her compete as with Sean Gerber. I mean, he's dabbled in Inner Geekdom, so he's got that going. But outside of that, I'd be really curious to see who they end up teaming up with, because I mean they are free agents, so
they are. So we're gonna have to keep that on watch. Who are the potential teammates for those two? But they break up, and then a good win for the Evil Geniuses. A funny post-match promo with them. I think that Big Brother John Harris, kind of annoys the ever-loving crap out of JTE. Use a lot of vernacular that JTE is not too familiar with, but it was a very fun promo. I think they said like pip pip and huzzah or something like that, and JT goes, those sound like sodas.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that comment.
At one point, I think JTE thought Jonathan Harris was accusing him of something, and it wasn't even. He was just saying big words, and JTE was like, "I never did that." So yeah, there's all kinds of confusion going on.
The dynamic is good. We like the dynamic.
It's fun,
and I'm excited to see what happens for them. JTE, of course, wants to take on the Odd Couple. I think for the only purpose of that is probably to get back at Jeff Snyder, who could be, by the time JT meets with him, a team champion.
Wouldn't that be something if the Odd Couple had the team belt and then Evil Geniuses made their way up to face them for a title belt? Look, as much as I love the Shirewolves holding onto the belt, that is a proposition of a match that I find highly alluring, and I mean, if that happens, my lord.
Yeah, man, I would really enjoy seeing that. That'd be pretty sweet. But anyway, let's stay here because the Teams League is stacked. You have the Odd Couple.
Yeah.
You have the Evil Geniuses. You have whoever Stacey Howard and her new teammate is going to be. So we don't know how stacked their team is. But you also have the Wildberries. You have I already say the Shire Wolves, Founding Fathers, Who's the Boss, Corruption, just a myriad of great teams.
They're young teams too, in the sense they haven't competed a whole lot yet too. So that gives a little bit more mystery to just how good can these teams be. We have an idea, but we haven't really seen it yet.
You have the family, of course, as well,
right?
Which is one half is a former team champion, or 1/3, I guess technically, is a former team champion. So there are a lot of interesting teams here. I think that if I'm the champs now, and I'm the Shire Wolves, I'm looking and I'm like, this is getting pretty heavy, man. To quote Marty McFly, but I think that they're up for the challenge.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to what Merle was talking about when he's looking at the singles division. He's like, because I said, it's great that they all got to face each other, they all got to beat up at each other. But he goes, actually, whoever gets through all of that, they're going to have earned it, and I'm going to have my hands full. And that's exactly, I think, kind of the thing that Shirewolves are looking at. If they get past Odd Couple, if they can defend against them, then you're right. All those other teams you listed, one of them is waiting. It's going to make their way up to them, and they will definitely have earned it by the time they reach the Shirewolves. So they will be battle hardened, and just as much as the Shirewolves will be at that point as well. So it's going to be these title matches that are coming up for all the divisions are going to be some. Again, I used to say this a lot. All timers. We're going to see some all-timers this year, man.
And the Magic Season 6, brother. I mean, there are a lot of interesting matches at play. Who knows what's going to happen with the Odd Couple and the Shire Wolves? Who knows what's going to happen the next time Rachel Cushing defends that Intergeekdom Championship that's going to be in San Diego Comic-Con? And who knows what's going to happen when William the Beast Bibiani gets another shot at Dangerous Dan Murrell for the Singles Championship? Or gets a shot.
Also, did we talk about Kevin Smets taking on Hector Navarro? Because that's happening next month or in May. That's finally happened. If you've seen Kaiser's kind of posts on social media, there was a Bibbs wrote an article about Smets on TriviaSD.com. Go look for that one. It's a good article. But Kaiser says, he wrote, Bibbs wrote a good article about Smets taking on Hector Navarro, a.k.a. The Ghost, a.k.a. Victim Number 3. Love it. Smets is... He's
weird, though.
He's bowling through him.
Kevin Smets,
or trying to.
Even though Kaiser is a great heel. He's a good heel. He's got to give me a little more before I call him great. But he's a really good heel. I don't find myself, though, rooting against Kevin Smets. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't come off so healing.
He reminds me of very early Team Action. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're coming as the bad guys, but I'm also rooting for them because they're fun to watch. Yeah, but you kind of like him, and where now his guy, he's really gone full heel. I'm less on the rooting for him side, but I'm also interested to see what he does. But I'm not necessarily rooting for him to win. Like against Ben Bateman, I'm rooting for Ben Bateman. Not Andrew Guy. So,
I'm kind of rooting for Andrew Guy just a little bit. I like the upset. You know what I mean? I like the upset.
Sure.
I'm a fan of the upset. Love you, Ben, but my guy Andrew Guy.
And look, I love Hector Navarro. He's one of the great champions from the Intergeekdom League. But when you look at a player like Kevin Smets, who's just kind of taken that division by storm, much in the way Mark Hanopic did, you kind of want to see some awesome stuff happen. And unfortunately, Hector Navarro would have to be on the other end of that in order for some awesome stuff to happen in the favor of Kevin Smets. So it's like, damn, it's so good. I can't wait.
We're going to see how that all plays out. Excuse me there. We're going to see how that all plays out. I really love that Hector Navarro is coming back, though, to face Kevin Smets out of retirement, essentially, or out of obscurity. And we'll see how that all works out. I think that Kevin Smets, crazily enough, might be the favorite in that match. He might be.
Hey, well, he's not. I mean, like, in the fans' eye, he might be, but, like, in terms of the match, like,
Well,
who's
I mean,
walking
you
out
gotta
second,
give-
it's Hector Navarro.
Yeah, you got to, well, because you got to give the respect to the former champ. But
Right.
I'm just saying, man, time off.
I think it's a lot more even, I
Player's
think.
Worst
Yeah.
enemy. And Kevin Smets has not had any time off. He's been going full force. He even competed in an MCU exhibition match. So I don't know.
We know his training regiment.
We know what it is. We can't tell you, but it's
No, we
crazy.
can't. Oh, my. It's.
It is
Sometimes I
nuts.
think about it from time to time. You ever think about it from time to time? You're like, God, that dude is
Do you know what's
crazy."
funny? Okay, let me share this story. So he told me that, told us that, and Farah is studying for the real estate exam currently. And
Oh, okay.
I told her what Kevin Smets' strategy is for studying for the Schmoedown, and I said we should do that for the real estate exam. But I didn't tell her exactly. I didn't say that Kevin Smets did that. I said, hey, this is a way you could study for it, and I explained the whole thing, and she goes, nobody would ever do that. And I'm like, there's this guy named Kevin Smets who did it for the Schmoedown. She goes,
That's
somebody
great.
did that for the Schmoedown? I'm like, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's nuts. But we can't tell y'all. I'm sorry. Frank
Yeah.
Janisch, I know this is, we still did about an hour here, so it's not an abridged episode. So why don't you let the people know where they can find you, follow you, and what projects you're working on, brother?
Yeah, you can find me on Trivia. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter.
You can
And
find me on
Frankie J
Trivial Pursuit
29.
Online.
Oh wow, I don't know why. Jesus, I can't even. Oh man, I'm all over the place
In-game,
now.
brother.
Yeah. You can find me crying every
Don't
time
spoil
after
it,
every
no spoilers,
showing.
Dan.
Well, everyone knows they're gonna cry.
That's true.
So where can you find me? Instagram and Twitter at FrankieJ29. Check out SD Rundown Stats on Twitter as well for some stat nuggets from matches and about players. Also going to be working on that Roka documentary. I'm also on the PJ Campbell show that airs once a week. Find that on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and all, Podbean, blah, 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 blah. Wherever else you find podcasts. We did an Avengers spoiler discussion, so if you want to talk more about, listen to more about Avengers Endgame, check that out. And then also, but I still would want to talk about it with
Okay,
you.
let's do it.
I want to talk about this with like a ton of people.
Remember,
like,
comment
believe
votes
me.
if y'all want to see
Yeah.
Frank and I do that.
Right.
And don't listen to
So
it.
there you go.
Don't
No,
listen to
yeah,
another
okay,
one.
fine.
Don't
That's
listen to that
rude.
one
I
yet.
don't say that about you. That's rude.
I mean, you can
rude.
listen to it after you listen to her. If we do it. You can find me on all social media at Brad Gilmore. Make sure you check out the Hall of Fame podcast, available on all your favorite podcast apps or at the HallOfFamePodcast.com. Booker T and I drop 3 shows a week, and we just had this week the incredible, the immortal, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, WWE Hall of Famer, maybe the most
I've heard of
famous
that guy.
wrestler of all time. I don't know. He's probably up there in the top 2, and he's not 2. He joined us inside the Hall of Fame for 1 full hour. We talked to him about, obviously, the early parts of his career. I asked him some movie stuff. I asked him about the Rocky movie that he was in, Rocky 3. Thunder Lips.
Right.
I had to talk
Yeah,
about
that's
Thunder
great.
Lips. And we also talk about his reality show, Hogan Knows Best. And then we get into
It's supposed to be an exhibition.
a really, really heavy discussion about, his controversy using the N-word and some of
Oh, a
Booker's
book right
big
there, and that's
gaffes.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a very honest, humble, and real talk that the 3 of us had. That afterward, it took me a minute to be like, did we just talk about that situation, which was the biggest story in wrestling a couple years ago and a huge story nationally? Did we just have a live conversation about that on the air? I think that we did, and it took me a minute because Hogan is really almost everyone's first favorite wrestler too. So to get to talk to Hulk Hogan and for him to call me brother on the show was pretty cool. So go check that out. That's HallOfFamePodcast.com. You can check out my group's new song, 2011. It's called, what is it called? I don't remember what it's called, but our new song is out right now.
What? I actually, wait, is it too much?
It is
it too much? Yeah.
Okay, so I was
You're
thinking
welcome.
about the next song we have coming out, and then I was like, wait a minute, that's not the song we released. And then I was like, what's the song that we just released? I couldn't remember. It's called 2011's Too Much. Available on all your favorite, thank you, Frank, available on all your favorite streaming sites, Spotify, Apple Music, and others. I think Amazon on there, too, if anyone listens to music on Amazon. I'm not sure. But it's on there as well. It's called Too Much, hip-hop, a little R&B, and soul. So go check that out. And for Frank Janisch, I am Brad. Oh, wait, hold on. One more thing. One more thing before I forget. One more plug.
Oh, my God.
New episode.
This is like...
New episode just dropped.
Like,
of Back to the Future, the podcast, where I do a full 2-hour commentary, a watch-along with the movie. So you can play the movie.
Without me?
Without you.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe we should do Back to the Future 2 together.
That'd be fun.
I would like that. Let's do that.
I mean, I'm going to be out in Houston in a few weeks.
You know what? Perfect time, brother. We'll have to talk about when you get in and all that. But
we'll
I just
figure
did
it out.
Go
Yeah.
to Back to the Future podcast on your favorite podcast app. You can sync it, watch it with the movie. All 2 hours. I talk about it, give you commentaries, little stories, all kinds of stuff. So I encourage everyone to go check that out. But for Frank Janisch and for Chris Clark at Chris Clark 8788, those numbers mean nothing. I'm Brad Gilmore, the boat. And we'll see you next week on the Schmoedown Rundown.
What a week. Team week. It was team week. I just realized that. Both team matches. Team week. Teams week. Team week.
Solid.
That's a weird... Team week, team week, team week, team week, team week, team week. Say that. Can you say that fast? Team week, team week, team week, team week, team week.
Not going to do it.
Okay.
All right.